Tell me, what would your dream backyard look like? Everyone immediately says pool, grill, TV. Wrong. Think bigger, think broader. You don't need just a backyard. You need a backyard ecosystem where no one ever wants to leave because of the implications. This is an old-fashioned opinion. I've got opinions, old-fashioned opinions. This is old-fashioned opinions where every so often I overthink something that absolutely doesn't matter and act like I've solved it forever. These aren't the right opinions. They're not the best opinions. They're just my opinions, and you're just along for the ride. Today, we're building my dream backyard. What do I want in a backyard? But I also want to keep this reasonable, right? I want to create a low maintenance, highly versatile backyard. That's the spot for anything you could think of, cookouts, parties, game night, you name it. It is the backyard, right? That's where everyone goes. Again, this is my ideal backyard, but I'm putting a couple of constraints on myself. While there isn't like a budget, everything that I'm going to mention is still attainable. I'm not going to be dropping $10 million on this backyard. I'm trying to design this in a way where over time, if I had the right, if everything went right, this could actually happen. It's just, life happens. So it's probably never going to actually happen. But again, I'm not going 10, 20, $30 million backyard. So you probably won't see a helicopter or my backyard on the ocean with a yacht out there. It's going to be kind of your above average size backyard, enough to host a really good party, but not like 2 to 3 acres either, right? So I'm thinking your average American style backyard, half an acre might be a little bit much, but we'll get into that because I'm gonna break this up into phases, right? Phase one is gonna be the yard itself. Phase two is gonna be the stuff, right? Because immediately people want to go to the stuff. They want the pool, they want the grill, they want this. But I think you have to start with the yard itself. And what do I mean by that? I think that everything that we make, any decision I make about what I want to see in my backyard, kind of depends on how I think of a backyard. And first, again, the size. We talked about a half an acre, quarter of an acre, somewhere in there, enough to have 30 to 50 people over for a Super Bowl party. Not that we would want to do it outside because it's 40 degrees in February, but if there's a big game on in October, if there's a birthday party we want to have, if we want to just get a pickup game of frisbee going, not pickup game, that's probably if we just want to throw around a frisbee or a football, or if the kids want to have like a little mini football game, it's big enough for that. And there's enough space for people to congregate and also for all of the amenities we're going to talk about a little bit. So again, half an acre, usable backyard, right? Most of it should be usable too. And so what I mean by that is the stuff around it that appears naturally. So before we get into that, I keep saying before we get into that, I don't love that. I'm still working out the kinks of this solo type deal, but just bear with me. We got to build it first. We got to build the yard first. So again, we've got our half acre. What does it look like in terms of slope and structure? I guess I'm thinking kind of honestly diamond baseball field shaped backyard where there's kind of a central focal point at the top and then it just kind of radiates outward. It doesn't have, all baseball stadiums are kind of wonky as you get into the outfield, but just kind of some sort of natural barrier around the house. There'll be neighbors on either side, so you need fences up there. But think kind of you're standing on the back patio in the backyard, you're looking out and it's kind of radiating out from that one spot with a big kind of outfield, if you will, but again, not as big. You get what I'm saying. And I'm thinking at the house or maybe off to one side, there's not a steep slope, but there's a slope where it could kind of like if you wanted to have some natural grass quote stadium seating and you wanted to like host a concert, not really a concert, but I'm just trying to paint the picture for you guys. You could sit up like a small picnic there and you could have like this natural grass area where it's just pretty gently sloped. And then it goes into the main section, which is mostly flat. I can't tell you, as a Georgia resident, how many hills and dips and valleys I have in my current backyard where I wish it was just more flat. And it will be complete. The main section of this will be completely open. We'll get into a couple of little features here in a second, but the main space in the middle, the main parts of everything, all of the decorations and all of the landscaping will be kind of around the perimeter. So it's going to be largely open in the middle. That's the shape. That's the vibe, right? That's kind of the feng, not the feng shui. What's the right word? I don't know. You get what I'm talking about. But we got to talk about grass, right? It's got to be a field. You got to be able to walk on it. You got to be able to enjoy it. But again, one of the constraints I put on myself because I don't have that much time is I want this to be low maintenance, right? So we're in Georgia. We've got some narrow options here. You got Bermuda grass. This is the sports field grass. It loves heat. Great. It grows fast. Great. It actually repairs itself. It sounds perfect until you realize that you're mowing every other Tuesday for the rest of your life. And it's really not that soft. I want it to be inviting and durable and again, low maintenance. If it was just mowing, that would be fine, but I have a feeling I don't have Bermuda, but I have a feeling it's a lot more maintenance than just the mow. Because if it was just mowing every Tuesday, that'd be fine, but I think there's a lot more goes into it. Fescue, this is what I have. It's beautiful. It's dark green. It's soft for about 3 months out of the year. And as soon as any sort of heat or sunlight hits it, it's dead. So I don't want Bermuda. I'm sorry, I don't want fescue. It is easy to plant, but it's not easy to constantly take care of. And so I'm out on fescue. I did think artificial turf, and I think there might be some spaces for artificial turf, but because this backyard is going to be pretty open and there's not going to be some necessarily direct shade, maybe directly in the middle of the yard, I don't want turf because I know that the surface can be as hot as the surface of Mercury, right? When we get to August and July, I don't want my kids or anyone else to burn their feet as they're, playing on the turf. So might have it in some other areas, maybe around a pool, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, so I don't not a lot of turf. So I'm gonna go zoysia grass. It's pretty low maintenance, it's durable, requires less mowing, handles heavy traffic. You're gonna get grass stains. You're gonna have issues with it at some point, like the other ones, but I think it's a good middle road. So we're gonna go zoysia grass basically all the way around. Wherever there's open space, it's gonna be zoysia. Trees. Trees. I love trees. Trees are good. We like trees. They're good to look at. But what I don't like in my current backyard, is trees in the middle of the goddamn in the middle of the yard, right? I want the open space again to play, to walk around, and to be unimpeded. So the trees are going to be around the perimeter, and I'm thinking more like a few large, low maintenance shade trees, and not 20 of them, like we'll say like 4 or 5. But the big thing here, the first kind of thing that we're going to add to this backyard that I think needs to be not necessarily the most important thing, but I think the priority thing is, again, because this is a backyard for kids, adults, parties, whatever. One of these trees has got to be off to the side, not on the perimeter, but off to one side by maybe like a swing set or a small playground. And this tree provides shade for the kids and also is the perfect treehouse tree. We're going to put in a treehouse. It's going to have a zip line. It's going to have a rope ladder. Going to get electricity out there so they can have lights and AC. It's going to have like a balcony that you can go across, maybe a trap door type thing. It's going to be awesome. And then next to this one tree, or just in that same area, I'm not going to say right, left, or otherwise. You guys can kind of just imagine this in your head. But next to this kind of play area, giant boulder, right? Something that the kids can jump on and jump off of, something to climb, something to pretend that they're king of the mountain. You need a giant climbing rock. That's what you need. It's a law of nature. You need a giant boulder, maybe a couple of other ones to get up to the top of the giant boulder, but you need a giant boulder. It's a requirement. And yes, we'll have some other landscaping stuff around, native plants, some shrubs, um, things that would probably keep away mosquitoes. I think, what was it? Mint naturally grows in, maybe even, was it, what's the purple one? Rosemary, I think, also might kind of block some mosquitoes, that kind of stuff around. Get rid of all the kudzu, get rid of all of the flowers. This is like, I'm not looking to build a fancy backyard. I'm not build a beautiful backyard. This needs to be practical and versatile. And so while we can, I think there's a way with the shrubbery, with the trees, with kind of the garden beds, not garden bed, we'll call them garden beds, more like mulch beds around the perimeter, and some of the other stuff we'll talk about. I think you can make this a good place to be without flowers and things that I have to keep up with, because I don't want to do that. I don't want a second full-time job.
Tired of weak snacks? Step up to Hangry Toothpick Jerky. Too delicious and just a little dangerous. With flavors like original, classic flavor, basically jerky royalty, teriyaki, smoother than your cousin's mixtape, and try our new chili de arbol, sweet, spicy, and definitely plotting something. Find us on Etsy and get 10% off with code BANTER at checkout. Hangry Toothpick Jerky. Own your hangry.
So that's the yard, right? We built the canvas. We've added one little amenity for kids because I think that was important, to get that out of the way. There will definitely be a slide out of the treehouse. There'll be a bucket that you can raise up. All that stuff needs to be there. That's done. But now we got to solve the problems, right? My backyard, I want, again, to be a place for people to come and hang out, have a good time. But how do we make it a place that people never want to leave? We got to be comfortable, right? It's got to have shade. It's got to have a way to cool off or warm up. I need to be able to feed everyone, right? If you're coming to my house, you're going to want some food. So there's got to be areas for that. We need to be able to watch the game, right? You're coming over to my house. You're expecting there to be a TV on with a game on. We need to play. We need to have games. We need to have fun. That's got to be a problem to solve. We already talked about kids. It doesn't need to be expensive, but like, again, we got the treehouse. We got the giant climbing rock, maybe a tire swing. We'll get into that a little bit, but we'll get there. And then we need an adult section, right? So we've got a kid section. We've got the game. Or the game being the game, right? Whatever's on TV. We need maybe a place for adult games. We need Adirondack chairs, all that other stuff. We need a way to clean up. We need somewhere you just want to sit and hang out. We also need to make sure there are no fucking bugs anywhere. Mosquitoes I can handle the heat. I can usually handle bugs, but what I can't do is to handle heat and bugs. So we need a way to do that. Other problems, I want to make sure no one goes inside, right? Yes, there are exceptions. Bathrooms. If you have a baby and you want to change them inside, yes. If you need to go get more garbage bags, yes, you need to be able to go inside and get stuff. However, there shouldn't be people coming in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I want my house to stay cold or warm, so I want to keep people outside and make sure they don't have a real excuse to go inside. Other problems, again, low maintenance, right? So those are the problems we're going to try to solve with this layout and what my ideal backyard is. So with that, how do we stay comfortable? Biggest debate. Probably going to get a lot of shit for this in the comments. Pool or no pool, I'm team no pool. Don't think every backyard needs a pool. Pools are expensive. There are a lot of maintenance, and they are stagnant in that it is something that you can't really like. It's just there, and in the winter months, you gotta cover it, and you can't really like put a hard cover over. I think you can, but like I don't trust it, and I don't like we would only use it for 3 months out of the year, and then it's sitting there. So I don't think my ideal backyard has a pool in it. I'd rather have, again, kind of an open green space to put in a slip and slide or an inflatable pool or like a fun splash pad and have water balloon fights. Because like the kids don't care if there's a pool or not. They just want to get wet. They just want to get soaked. Um, so no pool, just we'll take care of any sort of water elements with the green space and bringing in inflatables or whatever. And we'll have sprinkler systems for the grass, so we can just turn on the sprinkler systems, and we'll have a specific zone for just like fun sprinklers that can spray kids or people. Wintertime, you need a fire pit. I don't need one of the giant chimneys. I don't want an electrical fireplace. I want a circular fire pit that's kind of off to the side, maybe opposite from where all the kids are. Um, Kind of like a gravel landscaping with a big ass fire pit, maybe a solo stove, because those are pretty great. Um, and just the ability to have that to stay warm in winter while you're outside. If you want to also have what's it called? The propane torches around some of the perimeter for some of the other stuff, I think that's good too. How else do we want to stay comfortable? I'm thinking there's also like so we have the patio, which I think is a part of the backyard. Maybe that's another discussion we need to talk about real quick. Is the patio part of the backyard? I say yes. And I think on that patio needs to be an actual kind of outdoor couch for seating. Because what I found is while Adirondack chairs are great, I think there's a lot more comfort in more of a couch style seating, and a lot of people gravitate towards that maybe than their own personal Adirondack chair, depending on the situation. So I think to kind of duplicate that underneath the patio, there'll be another kind of concrete slab with more couches and chairs and misters and what are they called? The propane stove. So we've got some additional seating there. How else do we want to stay comfortable? We've got water. We've got misters, and they have those AC units that are meant for indoors. Probably overkill to have it, but I think we could have those giant misters that plug into. Yeah, let's do that. Let's add some of those um the stand-up fans kind of all the way around the perimeter that have a water line that taps into the sprinkler system, and we can on hot days just mist the crap out of the whole yard too, and it can be zoned off too. So if you just want to do some, you can. um Probably some umbrellas, those big kind of overhang umbrellas, over some of the outside seating, to make sure, especially if you want to sit by the fire pit in the summer, not light the fire but just want a place to hang out, you could do that. And then we'll get into the actual makeup of this in a little bit, there will also be a bar/kitchen area where there will be some sort of heater and cooling element. So hopefully there's a zone for bar/kitchen, a zone for the fire pit, there's a zone under the patio, and then the rest of it's going to be kind of open space, and then the shade will provide some comfort during the summer months. So there we go. What's next? I need to feed everyone. A grill isn't enough. It's mandatory though. We need I want to have multiple ways to cook for people. Not all the ways, but multiple ways. So we need one of those awesome outdoor kitchens where there is a drink fridge, but then there's also like a small food fridge that is for taking food from inside to the outside so you don't have to keep going back in. Again, one of those requirements is trying to keep people outside. If before people come over, I can fill that fridge with refrigerated snacks or the meats that I'm going to eventually cook. That way I don't have to go back in to go get it. The drink fridge will just be stocked year round with everything from beer to uh to sodas and Gatorades. So the fridges will be there. There will be probably an ice machine, maybe, or at least an ice bucket. We'll see. I don't Probably an ice machine. Let's go with an ice machine because in the summer it's needed. I can always turn it off in the winter. Um, but maybe the ice machine's by the bar part of this. So we're in the kitchen right now, so we'll just stay in the kitchen. Um, there will be a propane or gas grill, probably gas, so I can just for the burgers, the quick nights, just burgers and hot dogs, couple corn on the cob, just do some gas grills. Easy, great. But then I need my Mac Daddy, I need a Mac Daddy smoker. I do like to barbecue. I haven't been able to do it in several years just because of time. I don't usually have 4 to 6 hours to actually barbecue anything. So if I'm building my dream one, I'm gonna have a like 100-gallon smoker that can fit like 40 racks of ribs and four different briskets, whatever you want to call it. You have the image in your head. That's what I want. Um, we need a sink there. We need to have not necessarily marble, but like decent countertops. Um, I like kind of those what are the concrete countertops on some of the rocks. That could be a good vibe. Don't really care about it aesthetically as long as it's easy to clean. That's probably my number one thing is I want it to be easy to clean. And then in that kitchen area, you need to have a essential kitchen island as well. That's the place that I found over the years that everyone congregates. Everyone's going there to get the chips and dip to make a plate of food. That's where once the ribs are done, you put them out for everyone to kind of buffet style. You could have chips on the lower patio. You can have food other places, but this would be the place where once everything's done and the hors d'oeuvres would be kind of set out for the guests, and it'd be one area, and we would design it in such a way where it'd be a clear buffet style line could form, very easy to get in and out. Because that's another thing I hate at some people's houses, and they have different constraints, but they set up their buffets to where it's like I don't know which way I'm going, and then the exit's blocked by a bunch of other chairs. And so, however we would set it up, there would be a very easy path for people to get the food that they need. Um, then we need a bar, right? We need a bar. I'm thinking kind of tiki style bar, right? Is probably the vibe I would go for. Um, it would be right next to the kitchen as well. I'm thinking like it would have a bar top and like four stools and an overhang and some fun lights and stuff like that. But it wouldn't be there necessarily for service, right? I'm not always going to have a bartender there. But if you wanted to go behind the bar and make yourself a drink, you can do that. Or if you just want to sit at the bar and drink, you could do that too. There'd also be probably an extra fridge there for the soda, all the other bar things that you need to keep cool, limes, what have you. So that would be kind of right. I'm thinking we put a bunch of stuff on the right side. This would be kind of on the left side. I think that's it. We got the prep space, we got the sink, we got cleaning, this kitchen island. I think that's kind of gonna do it for me. But then here's the thing that I don't see at most people's houses is a dedicated space for the television, right? People have TVs mounted, but I'm thinking a 200-inch projector screen that from the patio, from the kids' place, from the kitchen, from the lawn, the stadium seating lawn, from the center part, from wherever is this giant projector that you can put on the George game. You could put on a movie. You could have a movie night for the kids. Um, you like a drive-in style movie night. You could have a picnic and watch a big movie. People from other houses, it would be big enough to where people from other houses could see it, right? I want the neighbors accidentally watching the game that I have on. And I also, again, it needs to be seen from everyone. So if I'm cooking for people, if I'm running in and out of the house, if I'm on the slip and slide, whatever, I should be able to see this giant outdoor television. But that's not quite enough, right? it can't just be a projector. It can't just be a projector screen. It's got to have speakers. We need surround sound speakers that are dedicated to the television, or I guess the projector in this case, but could be switched to, say, a Spotify controlled phone, right? You can't connect to it, maybe not Bluetooth, but maybe a is there I don't know if I don't know if this exists, but I would want like a special app that's only on my phone that other people couldn't connect to my like it needs to be a private Bluetooth connection, right? I can't let anyone do it. So that way someone can't put on country music while I'm watching the game. Doesn't need to be super loud, right? But needs to be surround sound to where you could hear everything that's going on the TV wherever you go. Um, Maybe on the patio, there could be a separate kind of toggle to where you could have your own small, quiet sound system. That would be kind of cool. So if you don't want to watch the game and you're just maybe playing cards or something underneath the patio or on the patio, that would be cool too. We need to play. We talked about it a little bit with the pool, but I think we need to have the versatility here, right? The pool, if it was the center feature, if it was off to the side, it would be just wasted space for most of the time. If you have a basketball court, if you have a pickleball court, a volleyball court, it's just kind of wasted space. If because you can't use it for a lot of other things. It's cool, maybe if you had a small version of it, but I like the basketball hoops attached to the driveway. So if you wanted to go up to the driveway, you could just shoot some hoops and you'd be fine. But a basketball court's a large space to not use for other things. So again, I want the giant open field. That's it. Maybe some places to store some cones if we want to set up some perimeters. But like one day it's football, one day it's soccer, one day it's spike ball, one day it's frisbee, then tag, then wiffle ball. You could do so much more, I think, with just a big open grass space, like right dead in the middle. You could even, if you wanted to have tournaments for yard games, if you want to have like two cornhole games going, two can jam games going, two Beersby games going, whatever you want to call it, all those different spike ball. You could have a whole tournament if you just had tournament. I don't know. I said that weird. If you wanted to have an entire tournament of yard games, you would need the yard big enough and the space enough to have all of those different things going on at the same time because I don't want people sitting down, waiting their turn, and then lose interest. It needs to keep going. It needs to keep going. Additionally, on either the patio or the lower patio, we haven't talked about it a lot, but there should be couches, there should be seating, but there also should be at least enough space for two foldable tables for beer pong or any other drinking games. I forget, is it dice? I don't know what the game is called, where you throw the dice up in the air and it's got to land on the table and then maybe catch it. That won't work underneath the cover, but you can always pull the tables out and do it outside. So I'm not terribly worried about that one particular game. But if there was a covered area where that was tall enough to where I could throw up a ping pong ball without getting hit by a ceiling fan, it needs to be that tall. So imagine that space is going to be used for that. Um, I think you guys probably have a pretty good picture at this point. Going back to the playground a little bit, it needs to be, again, low maintenance. I don't want plastic. We have the real treehouse. That is going to be kind of a bitch to maintain. Keep things stained, make sure all the nails are hammered in correctly. I think there's probably a way to do it without using just wood. You could probably use Trex or whatever it's called. But we need the rock, we need the tire swing, we need all of the things there, and then additional like playground equipment, like a slide, like a fireman's pole. They need a space to be creative, right? I think that's where a lot of playgrounds kind of lack right now is they have some cool amenities. Like if there's just one playground by our house that has like a rocket ship, and that's awesome. There's like a whole net you can climb and it's in a rocket ship. But after that, it's a rocket ship. It can't be anything else. It's a rocket ship. So I want them to have this amazing space with all of the different things they can climb on, as what are the not a rope bridge, but like one of the rickety bridges that they have to go across. And then also probably some, maybe if we could do a rock wall potentially. I don't know. Something like that would be pretty dope. Just different things that they can do. So they're imagining that one day they could fight a dragon, the next day they could be a Ninja Turtle, the next day they could be crossing a river of lava, and they also need to be able to play, because I played it, and it's mandatory that my kids learn how to play. Was it Lava Monster? Is that what we called it? I don't know. Where you can't touch the ground, right? You need to be able to jump from things to things. Um, I think on the bottom, I think under that we need that the rubber. We need the rubber floor that's like made out of old tires, not the broken up tires, but like the solid, complete rubber floor. So if they do fall, that's what we need. It does get hot, but it's totally worth it. For the adults, again, we talked about how the space underneath the patio. We talked about the fire pits. Those are kind of all the adult sections, the bar, specifically Adirondack chairs. Not a big hammock guy. I'm not going to allow hammocks. I don't want hammocks around my house. I don't know why, just not a big hammock guy. I think you also need to have a separate TV under the patio as well, and probably on the top patio, so that if there's a separate game on, or if the kids are watching a movie and you want to watch a game, you have that TV as well. That's why I talked about that separate audio system for maybe the patio. And then that way everyone gets a little bit of what they want. And then at the bar too, why not have an extra little TV at the bar? That would be pretty dope. No bad seats. That would be a good rule. Everyone should be able, there should be one big TV, but then if you're not super close to it, you don't want to be in the mix, you can have another TV to look at.
Hey, real quick, you listening? Cool. Do me a favor. On your app, wherever you're listening to this podcast, there's a button to follow or subscribe or some sort of a notification type bell. Whatever you do, don't click them. Don't click those buttons. Don't do it. Or click it. Whatever it doesn't matter. Just fine. It's fine. Just click it. It's cool. Just do whatever you want. Preach.
We talked a lot about maintenance, right? We need to be able to clean up quickly. It's going to rain. It's going to get muddy, but we need an outdoor shower, right? We need some sort of water source outside that you can rinse off and get into the house without being completely muddy. Don't need a bathroom outside necessarily. I mean, like if we had, I think, again, if we have a patio under the house, there's probably a door into the basement where there would be a bathroom there, and I think that would be fine. I don't think we need a separate outdoor bathroom. I think that would be probably overkill. But we need storage, right? We need storage in the kitchen to have all the utensils and the cutting boards and all that fun stuff. We need storage for all of the inflatables. We need storage for additional towels. You need those areas, but I want to keep it like, just get the big deck boxes would probably be sufficient. I would try to label them. I think there probably would be one like bigger shed, because I'd also want to have, yeah, we'd have one shed that has a lock on it for all of the actual garden lawn equipment. Yeah, we would need that somewhere for the maintenance shed, if you want to call it that. But everything else could probably just fit into the pool boxes or whatever you want to call them. And one box for under the patio for all of the other fun games that we want to do. You want cards, you want dominoes, you want to play Settlers of Catan, you want to record the podcast. All of our mics could be out there. We could have it done right there. We'd have to, that would be cool. Under the patio, the screens, there are something could roll down and it's like foam. So we have our own little outdoor studio and we could just do it right there. Or we could do it at the bar, but that would seem like it'd be a little overkill. But it'd be cool it would be cool if we could do the podcast from the backyard. Just saying that. Put that in there. Bugs. We got to talk bugs. Fans. Bugs don't like fans. There's going to be fans everywhere. We talked about the misters. We talked about, I sloped the yard for a reason, because I don't want any standing water. I don't want mosquitoes to have a chance to breed. Again, fans on the tables, having it screened in patio up top and below potentially, where you could raise the screen. Having the solo stove and some tiki torches all the way around is a must just to keep because I've had the bug companies come out and spray, but unless your neighbors also spray, which they don't right now, it it doesn't really work. They just come from their yard to your yard and game over. So I I don't want it. We don't want the bugs. Some bugs are okay. Spiders I'm actually cool with. Drew might not like that, but spiders eat a lot of the mosquitoes. They eat a lot of the other bugs, so spiders are cool. Um, but I don't know how I would just like invite 30 spiders to come hang out in the backyard and eat all the bugs. I don't think it works like that, but it could. I don't know. Problem 10. We're all the way down here. Yes, I have a little bit of an outline that I'm reading off of, but it's all just kind of stream of consciousness at this point. Nobody goes inside. Where are the drinks? Everything should be obvious. That's another thing I don't like about hosting parties. And most of it's because of the setup of my house because it was built back in the 70s. And so it's not super easy to like put things in obvious places. But I don't want anyone coming up to me asking, where is X? Everything should be obvious. Like, oh, you want the pool stuff? Or not the pool stuff, sorry. Oh, you want the water stuff? There's that bin over there. That's where all of it is. Oh, you want a beer? It's clearly in the fridge by the kitchen or the one in the bar. You want trash, recycling? There's a trash can clearly right there next to the kitchen part. You don't need permission. Just go do it. And yes, we've kind of built our own sports bar by doing this, but still, that's kind of the vibe. We want a sports bar. Essentially, I think at the end of the day, I want a sports bar that kids can go to, right? That's all, that's the dream where I can have a sports bar. I can drink, I can eat, I can hang out, and the kids can just play without having to go back inside. That would be the dream. Lighting. We haven't done a lot of aesthetics. It's been very simple. I think we can kind of solve this with some lighting. When it's nighttime, yes, we got the adorable little string lights overhead. Any sort of pathways where there's a sidewalk type of deal, put some solar lights on that. But it can't be too bright because I don't want it to swallow the television. Yes, everything's kind of centered around the television, so it can't. We don't. But also at the same time, how cool would it be to have one giant floodlight on the house directly pointing down so that if we wanted to play once, like in the winter when it gets dark early, it would be really cool to have one spotlight right in the center that you could continue to play whatever game you're playing for however long you want. So I think we need that one spotlight. It's not on all the time, but having that one spotlight is going to be actually dope. I'm glad I thought of that. What we don't have, right? We've talked about how I'm building my dream backyard, right? The vibe. I think everyone's gotten the vibe. Everyone's gotten the cool. But like, I don't. There are backyards where I'm like, this is a really cool feature. It's not for me. I like things. I like it, but I don't. It's not. It doesn't fit my lifestyle right now. So I don't want to call it honorable mentions, but I'm gonna read off a couple things here that would be cool. Yes. Would I want to maintain it? No, and therefore it didn't make it. Things like a vegetable garden. I do like food. I think it's cool to be able to grow your own stuff, your own vegetables, your own fruits, berries, whatever. It's not for me. Not gonna have it. Koi pond with like a little waterfall feature. That's really pretty to look at. Not for me, not for this. It's not, I don't want to have to like drain, I don't want to have to pull the fish out when it breaks, drain the pond, fix the thing, and then put the fish back in. That's a lot of extra work. It looks pretty, but mosquitoes. I don't want the extra bugs. Don't want 20 oak trees. I live in a place now where there are a lot of oak trees. I'm tired of stepping on acorns in the grass. I want some trees. I want to be able to have them maybe on the perimeter, but when the leaves fall and the acorns hit, it's not I don't have to worry about it. It just creates more mulch. One thing I didn't mention that I think might need to happen though, because it is low maintenance, I thought about like a waterfall, but then I was like, no, waterfall, we kind of mentioned the water feature, but waterfall got me thinking to like water slide. Don't want a water slide, but having a slide from the house to the backyard would be pretty dope. So we're gonna add that too. Again, we talked about the pool. Is there anything else in the backyard that I'd want or that maybe other people have? I don't want like a rose garden. Um, I don't need flowers. I don't need annual flowers. I don't need any of that stuff. I just want a place to go, hang out, watch a game, and have the kids be able to play. So I think we've kind of accomplished that. And I don't have, it sounds like what I built is low maintenance for the things that I want. Yes, I understand that there's a kitchen that I now have to clean. There's a bar that I now have to clean. There's upkeep in terms of the um the tree house, and things can break, systems can break. I understand that. But if I'm building my dream backyard, I tried to make it as low maintenance as possible. So I hope you guys like that. Um, but there's one other thing. One other thing that we need. We need a specific additional feature. I didn't want the basketball court because I thought it took up too much space. I didn't want the pool because it took up too much space and it's too much maintenance. But I think apart from everything else, maybe on the side next to the house, um, maybe in its own little mini shed or building next to where this big screen is. Oh, and that's I didn't mention that this projector screen should be like encased by like a mini stage. So I think if the kids wanted to put on a play or something, they could do that too. If there was a concert or someone wanted to play a gig for a party, they could have it. So there's this big, we'll call it 20 feet wide, maybe no, probably 30 feet wide kind of stage. Um, that kind of forms like a V in the back, and you could just put a screen in front of it, and that would be your projector screen. But then if like they want to use it for something else, the screen will roll up, and now it's just like a stage. Um, but I think we need one of the things that we're missing here is like an activity for adults that want to do something maybe a little bit more sophisticated, and that is a golf simulator. We need a golf simulator in the backyard that is already set up. I can just go turn it on and it works. It won't be the main TV because it's not working. It may not have access or sight lines to the main TV because it needs to maybe have most of the walls except for the one you walk into it. But I need to put a golf simulator back there. And it needs to be air conditioned and heated. So that's just for me though. Maybe that's in the basement and it's accessible via the back door. But you guys get what I'm saying. It needs to be there. So, um, I think if I could download the transcript of this, I could put it into ChatGPT and see how much money this would cost. But I don't think we need it. That might just be a lot. I will try to, you know what I'll do though is I will have the transcript downloaded and I will try to come up with, I'll have it design it in I'll have it render something and say my dream backyard. So we could do that. Okay. Okay. So that's my backyard. But before we end, it's time for last call. For this last call, I'm going to do kind of a rapid fire what didn't make it into the blueprint so you know where I land on this, right? First up, does the perfect backyard include a dedicated pet area? I don't think gets a dedicated pet area, but it needs to be pet friendly. So I think maybe there is a space where we try to we train the dog to go to the bathroom. So it's kind of the poop is somewhere else potentially, but maybe it does need its own space and we'll kind of figure that out. Um, how big is too big for the TV? I don't think there's an answer for this. I think again, we kind of talked about it, but it should be big enough to where the neighbors can see it easily. Wildlife, bird feeders, butterfly gardens, bee friendly flowers, none of that. I don't want any of that. I don't want the less fauna, the better, in my opinion, for this backyard. I think if there's a a chain link fence around the perimeter and there's more stuff that we can see, like there's more woods area, sure. But like I'm not building a bat box, right? An outdoor gym. No, don't think I need an outdoor gym. Um, I think there's enough space to be active and do active things, and so I don't need a gym. Definitely don't need a chicken coop. Okay, here's one. How much technology is too much technology? I don't think we need to go crazy in terms of like automation. I like automation from a ease standpoint, but also I like to be able to control stuff. If I set up the automation and it's not right, then I have to go set up the automation again. So I'd rather it be like maybe one universal remote control that I have that controls everything. Um, tablet, if you want to call it that, and then kind of go from there. Would I have any secret features? I don't think I would. The the golf simulator was kind of that secret feature, but I don't think I would have like a hidden bourbon room, or I would say a secret passage would be kind of cool. So like I like the idea in my house of like being able to pull a book and there's another room. It just doesn't really work in a backyard. So probably not. Um, would I want any fruit trees? No, no, I would not. Outdoor office. That's interesting. Would I have an outdoor office? Probably not. I think I could work from the patio, and that's all I would really need. There would be outlets on the patio, but I don't think I would have a dedicated office out there. Outdoor sleeping. I don't think I need any additional outdoor sleeping. No, we can set up a tent. There's a fire pit. We're fine. Seasonal decorations. This is one. Okay, yeah, we would definitely try to theme it when appropriate. We're a big Halloween family, so we definitely decorate it with Halloween decorations. Um, Probably wouldn't have crazy themes going on, but we definitely we'd go all out for Halloween for sure, and probably 4th of July. Let's see. Would you rather questions? Would you rather have twice the backyard or twice the patio? I think if I built this backyard, twice the backyard. Lake view or complete privacy. Of those two, go in lake view. Would you rather have the perfect weather, unlimited maintenance help? I'd say probably unlimited maintenance help. That would be great. Would you rather have $500 grill or amazing company? Oh, have a $500 grill and amazing company, or $10,000 grill and no one over? Give me the $500 grill. Treehouse or golf simulator? Personally, golf simulator. But like, I don't think this. We can put the golf simulator inside for the backyard. I think the treehouse is the thing that's more important. Sports bar. Would I rather have a sports bar or a resort? A sports bar. Would you rather have perfect grass or no bugs forever? No bugs. Easy. Would you rather have one amazing feature or 10 pretty good features? 10 pretty good features. Easy. Would you rather have a backyard everyone wants to visit or one you'll never have to maintain? Okay, probably one that everyone wants to visit. Like ultimately, if this is the place, I would rather do the work and have it than a backyard. Like if I never have to maintain the backyard, no one ever comes over. Why even have the backyard? Um, if one feature you'd remove immediately if someone else built your dream, what is the one feature you'd remove immediately if someone else built your dream backyard? Oh, that's a good question. Um, Probably the pool. If I like it, that's the one that I think a lot of people will jump to quickly. Um, I would remove that first just because I don't want to maintain it. And with that, this has been another episode of Old Fashioned Opinions. New episodes every Wednesday. Follow us on the socials at @the_bar banter. There's a link in the description where you can support Hangry Toothpick Jerky, our sponsor. Go to Hangry Toothpick Jerky on Etsy. Put some jerky in your cart. Type in Banter for 10% off your entire order. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Tell other people about it. That'd be cool. And there's a link in the description where you can support the podcast directly and help me create my dream backyard. I'll invite you. You know what? If you donate, and I have enough money to create this dream backyard, I will invite you to come over to hang out in the backyard. But as always, this is our podcast. and you're just along for the ride.